it's okay to be professional about it and like send a text to your teammates. Send a text and be like, hey, like, love you guys. Or you don't even have to say love you guys. It's like, hey, sorry this didn't work out. Good luck. Da-da-da-da. You know what I mean? Like, there's a way to handle that, I think.
Wow. Look, she said you could send a text. You didn't even send them a text message? Not even a text message?
Hey, you gonna tell your teammates what we got going on here? Nah, screw it. They don't deserve it. They're not worth my time. They're not worth my energy. I don't even know these people. I barely showed up.
You couldn't even say thank you to your teammates for the work that y'all put in together, the relationships they thought they were building.
And Stephanie White was covering for her, knowing she didn't want to be there anymore.
Sophie Cunningham just dropped the most explosive revelation of the entire WNBA season. Honestly, DeWanna Bonner should be absolutely embarrassed by what just got exposed on national media. This wasn't just a player leaving a team. This was a complete betrayal of everything that professional sports is supposed to represent. The Indiana Fever's resident truth teller just revealed that Bonner literally ghosted her entire team when she decided to quit mid-season. She didn't even have the basic human decency to send a single text message to her teammates explaining what was happening. We're talking about a supposed veteran leader and future Hall of Famer here.
DB was one of my vets when I was in Phoenix, and then we gathered here into Indiana. And like, it was kind of a surprise that she was signed to Indiana anyway. And so we'll take her in a heartbeat. Like, she's a Hall of Famer. She's a hell of a basketball player, can score from anywhere on the court. But she got to Indiana and she just like really wasn't happy.
Like, Caitlin Clark thought you was somebody she could be around and look up to and learn from, and you just stabbed her in the back. No text message, no phone call, nothing. Low down dirty.
I didn't form any relationship with them. I mean, man, I did know Sophie from when she was here, but screw it. Screw it. Screw the team. Screw my teammates. And I'm glad Sophie Cunningham let us all in on a little secret. DeWanna Bonner didn't even let them know what was going on. She didn't even make them privy to any information that, hey, team, this isn't working out for me. I'm thinking about getting out of here. It was nice knowing y'all. Sayonara, sucker, see ya, wouldn't want to be ya. She didn't even do any of that.
She treated Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, and the rest of her teammates like they were complete strangers. These were the people who welcomed her into their locker room and fought alongside her every single night. If you're absolutely disgusted by this level of unprofessionalism and you want Sophie to keep exposing the fake players in this league, smash that like button and drop Sophie Truth in the comments.
But Sophie Cunningham said, hold my beer. I got a podcast. I got this platform. I'm going to speak my mind. I'm not going to toe the company line. I'm not going to protect narratives. I'm not going to follow agendas. I'm going to tell you how it all went down.
This story is about to get absolutely wild. The drama surrounding this backstabbing situation goes way deeper than anyone imagined. The way Sophie broke down exactly how dirty Bonner did the entire organization was absolutely shocking. It completely destroys any narrative about her leaving for legitimate personal reasons. According to Sophie's bombshell podcast revelation, Bonner was conspiring behind the scenes with her significant other about how to get out of Indiana. Meanwhile, she was keeping her teammates completely in the dark about her plans.
Out very quickly, that's what DeWanna Bonner was trying to do, was go play with her significant other. The WNBA is not a serious league. Why? Because you've got actual players in this league that are in romantic relationships with other players on other teams. And you've got players making decisions pretty obviously because they're trying to get to their significant other.
She wasn't dealing with some sudden family emergency or unexpected personal crisis. She was actively planning her exit strategy while pretending to be committed to the team. Bonner let everyone believe she was going through temporary difficulties that would eventually be resolved. The woman was literally taking money from the organization while plotting her escape route. She didn't think her teammates deserved even the most basic explanation about what was really going on. That's not just unprofessional. That's straight up dishonest and manipulative behavior from someone who was supposed to be a leader.
Quitting on the team, taking the money and running, not even being professional about it. Again, there's no professionalism going on here, folks. Between the personal reasons, meanwhile, the front office knows what's going on. The organization knows what's going on. But the team is just as in dark as the fans were. Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Sophie Cunningham, just as in the dark as we were.
That left their team under those kinds of circumstances. Hell, we thought she had some kind of, was she getting a tumor removed or something? It's personal. It's personal. No, she just didn't want to be with the organization anymore.
She literally acted like a 6-year-old. Everybody like DeWanna Bonner's a legend. She's a vet. This is the most pathetic way I've ever seen. The most pathetic way I have ever seen anybody leave a team.
What makes this situation even more disgusting is how Sophie revealed that Bonner's unhappiness was obvious from the very beginning. Sophie admitted that it was already a surprise when Bonner got signed to the Fever in the first place. She never seemed to fit in with the team's culture or playing style from day one. The veteran was supposed to bring leadership and championship experience to a young roster. They were building something special around Caitlin Clark. Instead, she became a distraction and a negative influence, who was more focused on her own comfort than contributing to the team's success.
There's not a world where anybody could possibly remotely believe that there's any class to that whatsoever. Like, what are you doing exactly? Didn't tell the teammates anything. Teammates she was just sharing a locker room with, playing basketball with on the court.
Sophie made it clear that while she wanted Bonner to be happy, there's a professional way to handle these situations. Bonner chose the most selfish and cowardly approach possible. You don't just disappear on your teammates without any explanation. That's not how professional sports works. That's not how basic human relationships work either. The complete lack of communication from Bonner was what really shocked everyone who heard Sophie's account. When Sophie was asked if Bonner gave any explanation to the team about her sudden departure, her response was absolutely damning. She said there was no explanation when it happened. There wasn't even any private communication with individual teammates about what was going wrong or why she needed to leave. Think about how cold-blooded that is for someone who's supposed to be a veteran leader in professional sports. These women spend months together traveling, practicing, and competing at the highest level. Bonner couldn't even be bothered to send a simple text message saying she appreciated their efforts. She couldn't say that the situation wasn't working out for reasons that had nothing to do with them. That's just basic human decency. She couldn't even manage that minimal level of courtesy. Sophie's suggestion that a basic text message would have been the absolute minimum level of professionalism really highlighted how low Bonner's standards were. As Sophie put it, she didn't need to send some emotional message expressing love for her teammates. A simple, "Hey, sorry this didn't work out, good luck," would have shown basic human decency. It would have shown respect for the relationships that were supposedly being built in that locker room. But Bonner couldn't even manage that minimal level of courtesy. That tells you everything you need to know about her character and how she really viewed her time in Indiana.
And that's the crazy thing. DeWanna Bonner clearly just didn't like the players. She didn't like the Fever players. She didn't like the way things were. Just didn't like the team. So she left basically saying, "F you." Which is absolutely, I don't care how much you hate these people. You signed up for it. You can leave. You were refusing trade, you're doing all this, and you didn't even have the decency to tell the teammates, sorry it didn't work out.
She saw her teammates as obstacles to her personal happiness rather than fellow professionals. They deserved honest communication about her intentions. Instead, they got complete silence and abandonment. The timing of Sophie's revelation makes it even more impactful. It comes at a time when the Fever are proving they're better off without Bonner's negative energy dragging down the team. The fact that Sophie felt comfortable enough to share these details on her podcast shows how much more unified this locker room has become. They got rid of the dead weight that was holding everyone back. Sophie's willingness to call out unprofessional behavior demonstrates the kind of accountability that championship teams need. This is exactly what Bonner should have provided but completely failed to deliver during her time in Indiana. Real veteran leadership means having difficult conversations when necessary. It means putting the team first even when you're dealing with personal issues.
I give her a lot of credit for that because they're going to come for Sophie over this. I suspect in every one of these podcast episodes Sophie does, the mob is going to come after her in every one of them.
None of these players wanted DeWanna Bonner to touch the ball. Not only score, she got swatted by Natasha Howard, and it's the happiest I've ever seen Caitlin Clark. It is the happiest I've ever seen Caitlin Clark jump up when Natasha Howard swatted her after she airballed. They wanted to absolutely destroy her.
Bonner did the opposite of everything a veteran leader should do. But Sophie's truth-telling hasn't come without consequences. The WNBA apparently doesn't appreciate players being honest about what really happens behind the scenes. The league hit her with another massive fine after her first podcast episode where she criticized the officiating. Now she's facing even more potential penalties for speaking her mind about various issues affecting the team and the league. Sophie revealed that she got fined $1,500 just for her first episode. That's triple the $500 fine she received for that viral TikTok where she called refs stupid and useless. The league seems more interested in protecting its image than allowing players to have honest conversations. They don't want to hear about the real problems that are hurting the sport. The escalating fines show that the WNBA is trying to intimidate Sophie into staying quiet about controversial topics, but she's clearly not backing down from speaking truth to power. Her general manager had to pull her aside like she was getting called to the principal's office. She had to inform Sophie that more fines were coming. That shows how seriously the league is taking her podcast as a threat to their carefully controlled narrative. But Sophie's response has been perfect. She's basically telling the league that their fines aren't going to stop her from sharing what really happens in professional women's basketball. She's got endorsement deals and growing popularity that make these fines more like a cost of doing business than a real deterrent. The fact that Sophie is willing to risk thousands of dollars in fines to expose the truth proves something important. She's committed to changing the culture of fake professionalism that allows players like Bonner to get away with selfish behavior. Sophie understands that fans and teammates deserve to know what's really happening. They shouldn't be fed sanitized public relations statements that protect players who don't deserve protection. Her podcast has become must-listen content because she's providing insider perspective that you can't get anywhere else. She's doing it with the kind of authenticity that makes her one of the most compelling personalities in the entire league. The broader implications of Bonner's unprofessional exit extend far beyond just one player leaving one team. It highlights systemic problems with how veteran players are expected to mentor younger talent in the WNBA. Caitlin Clark came into the league expecting to learn from experienced players like Bonner. She wanted to work with someone who had been through championship runs and understood what it takes to succeed at the highest level. Instead, she got someone who was more focused on personal comfort than helping build a winning culture. Bonner abandoned the team without even attempting to provide guidance or support during her departure. That's the opposite of what veteran leadership is supposed to look like in professional sports. Young players like Clark deserve so much better from someone who was supposed to be a mentor and role model. The impact on team chemistry could have been devastating if not for players like Sophie who stepped up. They filled the leadership void that Bonner created with her selfish behavior. Instead of letting the team fall apart because of one person's unprofessional actions, Sophie and other veteran players used the situation as motivation. They became more united and committed to each other. They turned Bonner's betrayal into a rallying point that made them stronger as a group. That's exactly what championship teams do when faced with adversity. It shows the kind of mental toughness that will serve them well in playoff situations. This experience taught them that they can overcome internal drama and emerge stronger on the other side. The fan reaction to Sophie's revelation has been overwhelmingly supportive. Basketball fans appreciate honesty and accountability from the players they're investing their time and energy to support. Social media has been flooded with fans praising Sophie for telling the truth about what really happened. They're expressing disgust with Bonner's unprofessional behavior that left teammates hanging without any explanation or closure. Fever fans especially have been vindicated because they suspected something wasn't right about the official story. They didn't have the insider information to understand just how badly Bonner handled the entire situation. Now they know the truth, and they're even more supportive of Sophie for having the courage to expose what really happened. The contrast between Sophie's approach to handling difficult situations and Bonner's approach couldn't be more stark. When Sophie has problems with officiating or other league issues, she addresses them publicly. She accepts the consequences of speaking her mind. When she has something to say about teammate behavior or team chemistry, she does it in a way that's honest but respectful. She shows respect for the relationships and commitments that professional sports require. Bonner took the complete opposite approach. She avoided difficult conversations. She kept everyone in the dark about her intentions. She prioritized her own convenience over basic professional courtesy. That's not leadership. That's cowardice, disguised as personal decision-making. This whole situation also exposes the fake nature of some veteran players. They talk about mentorship and leadership, but don't actually follow through when it comes to supporting their younger teammates. Bonner had the perfect opportunity to show Caitlin Clark and other young players how to handle adversity with grace. Instead, she provided a masterclass in how not to handle these situations. She basically taught them that it's acceptable to quit on your teammates without explanation when things get uncomfortable. That's the opposite of the kind of example that veteran players should be setting. The next generation of WNBA stars deserved better guidance and leadership than what Bonner provided during her time in Indiana. The timing of Sophie's podcast revelation is also interesting. It comes at a moment when the Fever are playing some of their best basketball without Clark in the lineup. They're proving that they have the depth and chemistry to compete at the highest level. The team's 5-game winning streak and improved playoff positioning show that getting rid of negative influences like Bonner was addition by subtraction. The locker room is healthier without players who aren't fully committed to the team's success. Sophie's willingness to speak honestly about these issues is part of what's making this team more authentic and united. They don't have to worry about players who are going through the motions anymore. Everyone who's in that locker room now actually wants to be there and is committed to the team's goals. Looking ahead, Sophie's podcast is clearly going to continue being a major source of drama and controversy. She's established herself as someone who isn't going to sugarcoat difficult topics. She won't protect players who don't deserve protection. The league can keep fining her, but that's only going to make her more popular with fans. They appreciate authentic personalities over corporate-approved messaging. Her growing social media following and increased jersey sales prove that being genuine and speaking truth resonates with basketball fans. They're tired of hearing sanitized quotes that don't tell them anything meaningful about what's really happening. Sophie is giving them the inside scoop they actually want to hear, even if it costs her money in fines. She's building something much more valuable in terms of fan loyalty and credibility. The Bonner situation also serves as a warning to other players who might be thinking about handling similar situations in unprofessional ways. Sophie has shown that she's willing to expose selfish behavior that hurts team chemistry. Players who are considering quitting on their teams now know that their actions might become public. Their reputation and legacy could be damaged if they handle things the wrong way. Hopefully, this will encourage more professional behavior in future situations. Sophie has basically become the conscience of the league. She's holding players accountable for their actions and showing that fans deserve to know the truth about what's happening behind the scenes. That's exactly what the WNBA needs right now. Too many players have gotten away with unprofessional behavior because nobody was willing to call them out publicly. The Indiana Fever's ability to overcome this kind of adversity shows the kind of championship mentality they possess. They turned a negative situation into positive motivation. Teams that can handle internal drama and become stronger are the ones that typically perform well in playoff environments. Chemistry and unity become even more important when the pressure increases. Sophie's leadership during this difficult period has been exactly what the team needed. Her willingness to speak honestly about these issues has helped create the kind of authentic culture that attracts players who actually want to be part of something special. They don't have to worry about fake teammates anymore. Everyone knows where they stand and what's expected of them. The contrast between how Sophie handles adversity and how Bonner handled adversity perfectly shows the difference between real leaders and fake ones. Sophie takes on fines and criticism to protect her teammates. She exposes problems that are hurting the league. Bonner took the easy way out by avoiding difficult conversations. She left her teammates to figure out what went wrong without any guidance or explanation. The fact that the Fever are thriving without Bonner while Sophie continues growing her influence proves something important. Authenticity and loyalty ultimately win out over selfishness and convenience in professional sports. Teams need players who are willing to fight for each other and hold everyone accountable. They don't need players who disappear when things get challenging. Sophie has shown what real veteran leadership looks like. She's the kind of player that championship teams are built around. Her honesty might be causing drama with the league office, but it's making her teammates better and bringing fans closer to the team. That's exactly what the WNBA needs more of right now.